industry plays or employs very many people, and is a source of employment to our young people and others that work from that particular end. And when I interacted with the sugar companies, when I was the chairman of public investment, most of these sugar companies were making losses. I think it is the time, Mr. Speaker, I think we really require a serious discussion, because the investment of government in a number of these sugar industries is huge. We've had bailouts by government to these sugar companies a number of times, and we are required to check on whether there is real return on the money that government invests in them, and then open a candid, robust discussion with all stakeholders in trying to understand how best we can revive the sugar industry. Mr. Speaker and Chairman, I would ask Junet to become part of this discussion, because you may understand this area better, but I am told or I hear that there has been discussions on how to privatize these companies for maximum productivity and for profitability. If that is the direction we may end up going, then Mr. Speaker, and since all stakeholders will be involved, and if we are to go that way, of course, Parliament will be involved, then at the personal level, I wouldn't have any problem, because I will not be there to dictate. I will only be guiding the process, and it will be all inclusive, all consultative, so that we have one common ground on how we need to revive this important sector in our economy. Mr. Speaker, I think when asked how I will be able to produce food when the irrigation docket is not in my domain, and I want to say that government works collectively. I am sure, and we cannot succeed without water, without want to grow food without water. And anybody that cared to listen to my boss's speech yesterday during the Mashujaa celebrations, he has offered or inviting people to partner to come up with around 100 dams that will be able to assist us in providing water for irrigation. I want and I believe that because cabinet decisions are collective, I will personally be able to speak to my sister Alice Wame, because she is in that particular docket, and because we must all deliver as government on how we can break those perceived barriers, if any, so that at least together we can be able to grow food, together we can build the synergy and ensure that our country is food secure, because our reliance on food, our rain-fed agriculture, Mr. Speaker, is not anything that we can really rely on. An interesting question was also raised by my good friend Mbui on my integrity, or whether I will run away and leave the farmers alone. Mr. Speaker, even as we discuss that issue, I think for those that have been bunge with me, because I think we've served the longest, you have served the longest in the House, and I think I'm the second longest serving. I think my record also speaks for itself in view of the committees that I chaired and the recommendations I've done as a committee, which went to the extent of indicting ministers when we sat in the same house as ministers, and the latest being my investigation committee that I chaired, investigating the possible loss of money from the Ministry of Education by the acquisition of the Ruaraka land that where the country lost 1.5 billion. I don't waver. I am incorruptible. You can only persuade me, Mr. Speaker. So to get to the withdrawal of this particular matter, because that matter, Mr. Speaker, it is true and a lot of support in the House. And Mr. Speaker, those that were in that parliament, when all this happened, I came to the chamber and rose on a point of order and a personal statement. And I documented every step that took place, what went on, who called who, where that letter was signed from, and that matter resent. Unless if it's, if you allow, Mr. Speaker, I can mention. You know, Mr. Speaker, this country, you allow me to explain the circumstances.
Go ahead.
Mr. Speaker, for those that have never known, you see, when a gun is put on your head, and you understand when you have a CEO who is almost a terrorist, then there are many people that cannot withstand the pressure, the intimidation, and the threats that exist. I can tell you the letter to withdraw was signed.
To withdraw the motion?
Yes. Was drafted by one J. Muturi. The letter I was asked to sign, Njomo called, Speaker Muturi was called from somewhere. He was along, I think in Kilimani, was told, go back to the house, there is a letter that's is being brought to withdraw that motion. Jomo Gichaka, past 8 o'clock, delivered the letter to the then Speaker, J. Muturi. Those are the circumstances that I found myself in, and you know.
You signed the letter?
Mr. Speaker, yes.
Point of order, Honorable
Yes.
Speaker. Point of order.
Yes, that's it.
Honorable
And the President
Speaker,
was
point
there
of
then. So, Mr. Speaker,
order.
that is the situation, that is the condition. And that is from that time when my relationship and him went sour. Because that thing has really tormented me. I've spoken about it, but members continue asking. They may not have known, just like all these others were all organized and planned by his agencies. Lastly, Mr. Speaker,
the question from Ferdinand and Murugara.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, the warehouse system, receipt system was passed. It's a law that is in this country. It's supposed to be implemented by the county government. It is the county government that is supposed to license warehouses. And I think that we will not succeed if we do not work very closely with the county governments, and deliberately and intentionally work very closely with the governors. I even want to, I will be proposing laws to even operationalize this more, Mr. Speaker, because I believe food security cannot be a function of the national government alone. If crop husbandry is in the hands of the governors must participate in ensuring that Kenya is food secure. Mr. Speaker, I want to encourage and I want to propose to the governors when we sit down, and by use of this system, because this system, unless my understanding is different from yours, is where the licensed warehouse will be able to mop up the produce in those particular areas. And because I am even told this system is a serious support from some donors and other financial institutions, where if you have a problem, you may be able to be paid up to a certain percentage of the value of your crop. That way, you address your immediate financial needs, as when then the men and women in charge of warehouses are looking for good prices for that produce. This way, if we were to, the county governments were to do it professionally and organized in a good manner, then we will be able to